Hey guys, it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. There's a lot of things that have happened and a lot of things to talk about, but I think for now I'm just going to kind of skip a lot of the dialogue and just get straight to the point, or I should say the fun stuff, because I've got a lot of projects in the works right now, mostly like 3/4 and possibly a fifth one coming up. I've had a lot of trouble kind of making up my mind on which one to finish first, because I kind of get like distracted halfway through one and I want to start on another one. That's been kind of an issue that I've had recently. I wanted to show off the current progress that I've made on all of these costumes. None of them are fully finished, unfortunately. Ideally, I would have liked to have finished some of them before showing them off. That's kind of why I haven't made a video in a while, because I haven't really finished a lot of projects in that time. But the one that I'm probably going to finish first is the Republic Trooper from the Old Republic. It's not quite finished, and the helmet's the only one I really have painted, but I'm going to show all of that off in a minute. I'm not going to talk about it too much in this video, but I have been getting into some other hobbies, like some Star Wars Legion painting. I'm definitely not the best at painting, but I'm still really enjoying it. It's been fun kind of to take a break from one hobby and go on to another one. This is just one I've been kind of working on. I have a bunch of them in the works, but most of them aren't really ready yet. Still kind of working on painting the undersuits and stuff. I've also kind of gotten interested in Star Wars Armada. These are like some little ship models I bought on Etsy. I don't think the details are really showing up too well, but it's insanely detailed. Really happy with how it looks and everything. See if I can get it to focus. Yeah, I can't wait to paint these up. So here's kind of the first suit I've been working on. It's a Halo Combat Evolved, or Halo 1 Master Chief suit. It's the Mark V in universe. There's a lot to talk about with it, as with all the other suits, so I'm gonna get into it. Some of the pieces are in different stages of development, I guess. So like this is just a raw print. I printed it in black PLA. The whole suit is black PLA, which is pretty cheap for how much you get. That one has been kind of primed and sanded a little bit. The others are not, like this is not primed yet. I've covered some of these pieces with this material. It's the Liquitex modeling acrylic. It's pretty good for like filling in the print lines. I'm going to do that to this one as well. I think it works better at filling in the print lines than like the spray primer. But the spray primer is obviously really good for being able to see like imperfections in the print that you still need to, sand over. Like, unfortunately, my printer is a little bit smaller, so I had to like slice up a lot of the pieces to be able to fit them on the print bed, and then I just super glued them back together. So that's what I had to do for most of these pieces. I did kind of start to paint some of these, but I'm not really happy with both the color and the finish. There's still a lot of imperfections I want to try to go back and sand out. This green was like olive green, but I don't think it really works too well for a Halo 1 suit. This is actually the suit that I'm going for. It's the Halo Combat Evolved anniversary version, a little bit more high definition than the original. This is the like Jazzwares figure. It's kind of nice having it to be able to look at and kind of compare with the suit that I'm making. As you can see, the color is a lot brighter than the one I have, so I'm definitely gonna repaint it with something a little closer. It's kind of interesting, but the like visor on this one is kind of an orangish gold color, not just like straight gold, and I kind of like that better. I bought this motorcycle helmet visor on Amazon. It was pretty cheap, about like 20 bucks or something. But as you can kind of tell, it's sort of a goldish, like a orange gold or reddish gold color. It's really reflective. When there's like light behind it, you can see through it, but in the helmet there won't be, so you won't be able to really see my face or anything. I did start like getting ahead of myself with painting the helmet, but then I kind of realized there was still a few things I had to go back and finish, so kind of ignore the paint job. That's not what it's gonna look like at the end. I also printed this Combat Evolved style Magnum. Pretty happy with how it turned out. It is pretty big, but yeah, it would be nice if the parts actually moved, but they don't. It's just static. All these files, I should probably talk about that. All these are free that I found on thingiverse.com. The Magnum was from a different person. All of the Master Chief files are from Mo Sislak. I'll link in the description where I got them if you want to check them out. A lot of these pieces might look kind of rough, and that's just because I haven't sanded them at all yet. But once they're sanded, I'll prime it again and then kind of sand it again, just back and forth, priming and sanding until it kind of looks something like this. This isn't perfect, but it's never going to be perfect. That's kind of one of the tricks that people don't really tell you about. There's lots of imperfections in 3D printed costumes. You just kind of want to get it to the point where it's not really visible, and you won't really see it in pictures or anything, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. These bicep and shoulder pieces are really nice because you can kind of take them off and get in there and sand it without having to, work around this piece. That would be really hard, but it slots in really nicely, and I'll just glue that together when it's all finished. Yeah, I'm really happy with the files. The guy did a great job with them. There's a few little things, there's supposed to be some circles on the hand plates. I might try to add myself at some point. A few missing details here and there, but for free files, it's really hard to complain. I also have these boot covers that I didn't show. They're gonna go over top of a shoe. I might use this one, but haven't decided yet. It's just gonna slip over it like that and leave the bottom, as the actual shoe, because a 3D printed shoe bottom wouldn't really work. I guess the 3D printed parts are kind of fragile like that, but that's gonna slip over, cover the rest of it, and then I'll have the shin kind of up there. It's coming along really nicely, but still a long ways to go. The shins are also pretty similar to the Clone Trooper shins, where the back of it is going to have to come off a little to allow your leg to go through it, because, well, mostly your heel, I should say. Your heel is going to have to, open this part up to fit through, and then that'll just kind of cover back up. I think I'm going to use elastic to just kind of keep it in place, and then when my heel goes through, it'll knock it out of the way, and then it'll just go back to where it was. But otherwise, cool things like that just came with the file. I didn't have to edit it or anything like I did with some other ones that I'll talk about. Here's kind of my Halo shelf got going on. There's the Jazzwares Halo Infinite helmet. Looks absolutely amazing. Might try to wear that with a costume sometime, but it doesn't really fit this one. I really wanted to wear the suit in this video, but I just don't think it's at the stage where that's possible yet. So look forward to that in the future. I also got these gloves on Amazon. They were pretty cheap. I think they look pretty good. I think they'll work for this suit, but just wanted to show that. And for the undersuit, this is just something I found on Amazon. It's like a padded kind of shirt. I'm really not sure if it's going to work or not, but the Spartans in Halo have kind of this padded style undersuit, not just like a clone trooper, you know, just black fabric undersuit, but it actually has like some more depth to it. So I'm going to try to replicate that as best I can. The next type of costume I have in the works is a clone trooper. This one's kind of phase 1 with the helmet, but I'm probably also going to print a phase 2 to go along with it. I'm a lot further along in the development with this one. As you can tell, a lot of the parts have been painted white already. I'm really happy with this gloss white. It's looking really nice. Back when I started this suit, I actually wasn't using the modeling acrylic to fill in some of the print lines. I was only using this filler primer, which is great for kind of small filling, but not really for like 3D printer lines as much. It does work, but not as well as the modeling acrylic. And unfortunately, some of the print lines are still not that great. You can kind of tell when the light hits it. I might go back and sand some of these, but from a distance, it's really not that visible. The modeling acrylic method is just so much better. I should have done that, but you know, it's a learning process and I still have a lot to learn. The chest and back were definitely the trickiest parts because of how to split them up. They're just such big pieces that the splitting had to be pretty awkward. Obviously, you can kind of tell where I split it for the printer, like down the middle on both angles, both axes, I guess. The back was different actually. This one was able to be split up into 4 pieces, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. The back was a lot more complicated just because I really wanted to preserve that kind of back shape and keep it like the back details and keep it nice and clean where I wouldn't have to like get in there and sand too much. So I wanted to print it kind of face down, and in order to do that I had to split it up really awkwardly. It might not be that visible now, but it's just been a pain to sand and everything. There's kind of the helmet. Again, I had to kind of awkwardly split it up, and I'm still sanding this one. Obviously it's not been painted, but some of the lines are going to be kind of difficult to get to, like in this little area. Sanding is not going to be easy on that one, but I think it looks pretty good. It might be a tad oversized, but I can't really tell. Either way, I'm just going to stick with it for now. For the belt, I have all the little belt boxes that are able to just kind of slot into here. I don't have all of them with me, but they're still being worked on, and it's really nice that they can kind of separate. And another nice thing is like the seam line where I had to split the belt can be covered up, you know, when it's ready. It also slots into the abdomen section, which is really nice. Those little hooks there are right there, and it'll just kind of slide into place when it's ready. But I still need to finish painting the belt. It needs a little bit more sanding. I got these files for free again on Thingiverse years ago. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. But the files are for some reason not on Thingiverse anymore, so I'm not really able to link it. Maybe this was just an outdated model. Finding clone trooper shoes has been really, really difficult. I'm gonna try to use these. I found them on Amazon for fairly cheap, but it's still gonna require a little bit of work to get it into shape. I just think it has a nice base starting point, like with the lower section. Here I'll paint gray and then just kind of put like the plate over the top part. Then I can just kind of put this piece, you know, over top of it like that. I think it'll work out, but again, it's been so difficult to find like a starting shoe, a base shoe for clone troopers. It's just not going to be exactly right, but it just has to be close enough, in my opinion. The shins also have this really nice feature where like the back can come out. I'm going to do the same thing with the Master Chief suit, where I put elastic on here, and that way when my heel has to go through it, it can just knock that out of the way and it'll slap back into place. But yeah, it fits in really nicely. I'm also making a Phase 3 Clone Trooper helmet from The Force Unleashed, and I'm going to use it with this suit. Some of the pieces will transfer over really like directly, but others will have to be kind of replaced, and I'll go over kind of some of the differences here. One of the big differences is the knees. So these are like the Clone Trooper knees, but the Phase 3 / Triton Squad Trooper has these kind of Proto Stormtrooper knees. This is one knee pad that'll go like on one of the legs, and then this is like some ammo pouches that'll slide onto the thigh plate, just like the Stormtroopers. That's why the Phase 3 is kind of like an intermediary between the clone and the Stormtrooper. Another difference is the gauntlets and hand plates. So that's like the regular clone hand plate gauntlet. This is like a Stormtrooper one. It's going to be, this is actually just like straight up a Stormtrooper gauntlet. So it's not like a half, clone, half Stormtrooper mix. This is just straight up Stormtrooper. And that's kind of what it looks like in the game, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. The shoulders are also different. So this is like the clone shoulder. It needs to be sanded and painted, obviously, but it's much more round, whereas this is the Triton Squad shoulder. It has like these angular corners, and it's basically a Stormtrooper pauldron without the bridge down the middle. But it's a cool, like, again, transitionary piece between the clone and the Stormtrooper that just really signifies like this change in the armor design, and I love that. So it's not the best picture quality, but I'm still working on the abdomen, belt, and cod / butt plate for the Triton Squad Trooper. The cod and butt plates are just regular Stormtrooper pieces, whereas the belt and the abdomen are unique, and the ammo boxes too. It also has a Clone Trooper style grenade on the back, but I don't have that printed yet. I'm still preparing these for printing. Again, it looks terrible quality, but once it's printed out, I'll show it off again. I'm trying to get enough space for me to fit in here, because this is a pretty narrow section that will always give people trouble. It just, this has to be exact to fit your like stomach and lower back, or else like the whole suit's just not really going to fit very well, because everything has to be built on top of this. I've said it before, but if you ever start sizing a costume, always start with the abdomen section, because everything else goes after it, but this always goes first. So yeah, I did also make like a foam Clone Trooper costume about a year and a half ago, but I just never really got around to fully finishing it, or painting it, I should say. I like it, but I just really wanted to try to get like a 3D printed costume to have. The foam one is really cool. It's really flexible and lightweight. It like bends around and everything, but it just doesn't feel very authentic, I think. It looks good in pictures, but sometimes it just bends in awkward angles, and that you don't want it to. It's just too flexible in my opinion. So I wanted to give this a try. And this is the final suit I have currently in progress. It's the SWTOR Republic Trooper. This is the in-game, like, standard trooper, not the Havoc Trooper that we see in, like, the trailers. So this guy he's basically just a clone trooper equivalent, and you can actually kind of tell, like, by the helmet and some other parts of the suit that it's very clearly inspired by the clone troopers, and I really love that design, that aspect of it, that lore. I'm currently painting some parts of the suit, like the elbows they're already masked off, so they're ready to get some orange paint, just like the helmet. I'm just hand painting in some of the black areas, like the comm pad, and it's going to have gray on top of the black, the buttons. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of, eyeballing it by hand. I could mask it off, but that would just take, I think, extra time, and I just don't really. I'm ready to be done with it, Also for the knees, I masked them off. They're ready for orange paint, just a stripe down the middle on that little white section on the bottom. It's part of the design. These are like ankle guards for the boots, the shins. These are actually really cool because they're big enough where I don't have to have the back separate. I can just slip my foot all the way down, which is really nice. Just less moving parts, less things that are likely to break. Just feels really solid. I did have to do some slicing on some of the parts, like the thigh here. You can see how it's kind of slim. This trim is slim towards the back, and I had to cut it at an angle in the slicing software, because otherwise it would have been like this, and it would have been like thick down here, which really inhibits movement, and I can't really have that. I need that extra mobility, especially when I'm covered head to toe in plastic. For the belt and the abdomen section, as well as the belt and lower back, I kept them as like one whole piece together, and the reason is just, I didn't really want, I felt like the abdomen was too thin, and it needed to be thin in order for me to fit in it, but I didn't want that kind of clashing with the big heavy belt. I felt like it might break it, so I just decided to keep it whole for now. We'll see if I need to change anything. Again, this is my first time making a suit like this, so maybe I'll have to go back and separate them, but for now I think it's fine. Same with the lower back. I actually had to do something kind of cool in order to allow the abdomen and the lower back to fit together. So I have these slots for the belt to connect together, and it will just the edge of the belt there just hook into that slot, and it'll hold it in place really nicely. I'm gonna have some like Velcro or something to keep it firmly there, but it's just really cool how that worked out. I'll have to show it off more when the suit's finished, but I'm really pleased with that part, because the abdomen is always like the trickiest part of a suit. Here I have like the cod and the butt plate. Still, I think I'm going to go back and sand this. I'm not really happy with the finish, but yeah, those are kind of tricky. This was actually one piece that will just slot into there really nicely, but I decided to separate it because my printer's kind of smaller, not big enough to print the whole thing, so I had to split it up. The butt plate, I also had to split in half because it's just kind of really big. There's little grooves there for the boxes on the back to slot into, which is just helpful for guiding it in place. The ammo boxes don't function, unfortunately. That's something I would love to go back maybe in a year from now and add onto the suit functional boxes, but right now they're just solid. For the chest and the back, this is a very tricky segment. I had to, I guess, just slice it down the top like normal, But then because they're connected with these straps that go over your shoulders right here, I had to do something kind of awkward where I split up the straps into two parts there for each shoulder, and then also kind of separate it at the chest and at the back there. And the reason I have so many parts for that segment is just because if it was one whole segment, like across the chest to bridge the chest and the back, it just wouldn't be very stable. It would probably break too easily. So I separated them to allow for, less tension. I'm gonna probably connect them with like an elastic strap underneath, and then if it needs to flex, it can, without having to risk breaking it. The helmet I'm really proud of. It's not finished, I'm still painting some sections of it. Like that needs to be painted black, but it's looking really good so far. I'm really happy with it. This was definitely like the trickiest. Well, I wouldn't say the trickiest. That was probably the trickiest part. But this was definitely the most time consuming. I knew what I had to do by because originally this was just one solid brick of a piece, and I hollowed out the visor and the mouthpiece and the hole for my head to fit in. A lot of work went into this, but I'm really happy with it. I also printed the blaster for the Republic Trooper, but I think it's a little too big. I'm not really happy with how big it is. It's also really heavy, so I'm gonna go back and probably shrink it and then reprint it, because it's just not quite what I was hoping for. It has a PVC pipe running through the middle for stability, which I really like, and I want to do that for all of my blasters, but it just takes a long time to do that in the modeling software. I do want to talk about the model that I used, or the models for this costume. They were originally action figure files. This is the same exact files for that, but for an action figure. This is a custom one that I made about a year or two ago. Really, really happy with this. I decided to do an orange version in the costume, whereas the blue one is like the security troopers in the game, but the orange one is kind of like the attack offensive troopers, whereas these are more like guardians of the space stations and stuff. But anyway, the files were made by Budget 3D Works, which is like DS Artwork and Jumping Gopher on Instagram. I'm really, really pleased with the quality of the files. I had to do a ton of work modifying them for costumes, or for a costume, but again, they're not originally meant for costumes. They're originally meant for action figures, for customs. So just a ton of modifications had to be made. I had to thin a lot of the parts, like the thighs and the shins. Some parts had to be hollowed out, like the helmet. Just a lot had to be done for me, but just so I can give credit to the Budget 3D Works team. That's hopefully what I'll look like at the end of it. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. The files I bought off of cgtrader.com that they had listed there. So they're not free, but if you want to look at some of these files and try to convert them to a costume yourself, I highly recommend it. It's a fun process, but it's very, very time consuming, having to split everything up and convert it to costume form as opposed to action figure form. There's a lot of differences between our bodies and the little action figures. We can't bend as much, unfortunately, but I'm very happy with the way it looks. I hope to finish the whole suit soon to kind of show you probably the first ever costume of this guy. I haven't really seen many SWTOR costumes, especially not of like regular troopers. I've seen a few of like the Havoc Squad troopers, which are awesome, but I wanted to try to do like the regular standard trooper because I've never seen this guy done before, so I wanted to kind of do him justice and bring him to life. And just for the record, this is the orange that I'm using, Rust-Oleum Real Orange for this guy. And for the white, it's just Rust-Oleum Gloss White. This is the same white I'm using on the other suit, the Clone Trooper, as with this one. They're both supposed to be white, so, you know, why not just use the same paint? And for the Phase 3 Triton Squad Trooper, this is going to be the blue I'm using, I think. I might change my mind on that, but for now, I'm really liking the look of this one. And to finish all of them off after I paint them, I'm probably gonna coat it in gloss clear coat. Also for the shoes, a very important part of the costume, I got these cheap like costume boots off of AliExpress, which is like a, you know, cheap Chinese kind of site. They're not the best quality, but it will work, I think. It has like a zipper in the back, which is really nice. I actually think these are supposed to be Clone Trooper shoes, with like this piece that goes across the front. Just, it really resembles that Clone Trooper style. And I think these are supposed to be gray, but these actually can peel off because it's really cheap. And see, it looks black underneath. So I think this will work because the troopers have black underneath, and if I can just peel this off, yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to put some orange down the middle as they do in the game, but otherwise, yeah, that's about it. Here's a little bonus one for you. This was an ODST helmet that I was working on. I do have a visor for it, but because I bought them from different sellers, the visor doesn't exactly fit this model, unfortunately. Not quite sure what to do about that, but you know, we'll see. I am really liking it, but you know, I might have to delay this costume a little bit more for the future. I've just got so much else going on. Probably gonna put this one on hold for a while. And again, for the record, this is the 3D printer that I've been using for all three of those suits that you saw. This is a Elegoo Neptune 4. This is just the standard version. There is like a Pro and like an XL, but this is just the regular standard version. It cost about $180, which is really, really great. This thing has just done me so well over like the half year that I've had it. I just can't believe how good it's been. It's had a few hiccups here and there, mostly like with the bed kind of sliding and like skipping a little, and it shifts the model, but that's only happened like maybe 6 times out of like the 200 prints that I've done on this suit, or on this printer. So it's done really well. It is kind of loud, so I have to keep it in a separate room, but I'm very impressed so far. I'm actually working on a blaster for a different suit. There's some of the other pieces I have so far. See if you can guess what it is. Little sneak peek. So that's most of the projects that I've been working on. I have not been, you know, just sitting here doing nothing over the past few years. It's been very busy, but I just have such a bad habit of like getting halfway through one project and then kind of just wanting to start another one, and then I start the next one and then just kind of finish half of that and then start another one, and then it's just such a bad cycle to be in. But I'm really hoping to finish up some of these suits. As you've seen, some of them are really close to being finished. I'm really happy with the way they're looking. I'm just not sure where to put them next. That's another problem that I'm running into. Yeah, I have a a space issue right now. I did actually buy like a cheap mannequin to put some costumes on, but it's kind of hard to get some of the pieces around the hard plastic mannequin because, like, you know, your arms can bend and stuff, but the mannequins are like permanently in place. So getting like stuff around those permanent positions is kind of difficult. I really want it to work out where I have like a bunch of mannequins in my room wearing all of my older costumes. I think that would be just the coolest thing ever. So that's kind of one thing that I've been thinking about. But again, just more plans for the future. A lot of fun stuff going on here. So look forward to videos of these completed suits, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.